Well, hello everybody. How's it going today? Hope you guys are all doing really good. I shot a video on, setups and that kind of stuff. A few tips on, strings binding in the knot. How to check it. This is usually the issue why most guitars will not stay in tune. You want to be able to pull that string up to pitch, right? Tune it to pitch. Go behind the knot, bend the string, and that needs to go right back to pitch every time, okay? If it isn't, then it's getting caught in the knot slot. It's probably too narrow. It happens a ton on acoustic guitars, electrics too, but I see it more on acoustics, and I think the reason is because the strings are bigger gauges, and they probably are binding in there, more than likely from not having the nut slots opened up enough. So anyway, I hope that information was helpful to you folks. And after I shot the video, I was getting ready to intonate this guitar, and I didn't notice in the video. It's hard to shoot videos and try to tack the guitar and really pay attention to it all. But in any case, you can see I've got the E string and the A string wound right up tight, and it's still at the 12th fret. If I play an open note, see if I can do it at the 12th fret, it's sharp. So what that means, if that note is sharp at the 12th fret, it means this saddle needs to go back more. And if it's flat at the 12th fret, then that means the saddle needs to go this way, okay? Now, I adjusted that as far as I can. I've seen people cut the springs and that kind of thing just to gain that little bit more. Well, I get up today, this morning, and I was reading some of the comments on the video, and one of the viewers pointed this out, which I didn't notice in the video. And I really didn't notice it last night after I shut the camera off. I was just kind of buzzing through the ritual trying to get it intonated. Now look real close here. As you can see, and thank you to the gentleman that pointed that out, the nut is not in there square, not even close. So, and I told you the E and A string I had wound all the way to the maximum here, okay? Now the rest of them I was able to intonate, but those two, they're still sharp at the 12th fret. So what do? Well, we're going to have to take the strings off. We're going to have to knock the nut out of there, and I'm going to take a razor saw and cut this in straight. And probably, if I can pull it off, I'm going to try to save the little wedge that I take out here. Then I'll move the nut forward. I'll put the wedge in here and put some super glue on it. And that should give me enough distance so the scale will be right and I'm able to intonate the guitar. So, this does happen. I have seen this on a lot of aftermarket necks that you buy. You can buy those $50 necks on eBay. There's a ton of them. They come in from China, and that's a big thing. And another thing about those necks, the heel is always at an angle. It's not cut right. I've dealt with those more than once. It's probably not a bad deal if you don't mind working on it and you know what to do. Once I finally figured it out, I can take care of the issues pretty quick. But in any case, that kind of stuff can keep you up at night and haunt you. So I think that's what we're going to do here. We're going to take the strings off, and I'm going to knock that knot out of there, and I'm going to cut a straight line across, nice and square. And then somehow, I haven't figured out how yet, but I'm going to try to get that piece out of there. And if I can't get it all out of there, then I'll make one. You know, I'm going to have to make some sort of a sliver to go on this side of it to actually correct it. It happens, guys. It's just, you know, it's a failure at the factory. And, you know, a lot of times you could probably get away with that, but not in this case. And I could tell just by the arrangement of the saddles here that didn't look right. So, you know, I think I pointed this out in the other video. When these are right, it almost looks like it'll be these three like kind of grouped together, and then these three will be in closer, kind of grouped together too. It almost makes like a lightning bolt. And if it doesn't look like that, then your scale length is wrong. Okay? So I just wanted to point that out and pass this information along to you guys. And I'm going to fix it. There's no two ways around it. I mean, I can't play... It's really close. Probably 3 or 4 cents, you know, sharp. Some guys may just, you know, deal with it, but I can't deal with it. It just drives me crazy to play a guitar that is not intonated. Somewhere on the neck, you're going to find chords that just do not sound like the guitar is in tune. So that's the procedure we're going to take right now. And like I said, I'm not going to overcorrect it this way. I'm just going to bring that back, you know, so it's basically like the other end of it where the treble string is, and that should give me enough distance. Like I said, it's only off by 3 or 4 cents, and that's about how far you got to move it sometimes to pick that up. So you know, it's almost what I need here if I remove the spring. Okay, so that's the plan. Let's take the strings off and get the nut out of there, and we'll kind of go from there. Okay, so what I'm doing here, I left the nut in for right now, and I'm taking this razor saw, and I'm just scaffing a line across there where everything needs to be, and I'm setting it off the back edge of the nut, okay, just for reference. So that way I know it's got to be right to the edge of the cut, and then we can swing this over to the other edge of the cut, and it works out to about the same distance as we had back there. So, you know, this is not optimum, but it is what it is. We're going to have to make it work. There will be a lot of fills in there with glue for sure. So what I'm doing here is just kind of taking my time, using this razor saw. This is an X-Acto razor saw that, you know, really cheap. They're 0.010 of an inch thick, and that lets me cut the slot down. I just keep looking at the depth of my cut here and the depth of the nut. That's what I'm really kind of shoot for. Try to keep my saw nice and square. We're getting there. It's taking a little while, but it is what it is. At the end, we'll be in good shape. And, you know, if the cut's a little off, it's not a big, real big deal. In the end, I'm just going to square the nut up in the cut. If there's a gap on both sides, then I'll fill it. I'll glue a shim in there, or whatever I have to do. Hopefully I can dig this one out of there and reuse it. That would be really optimum for me. Okay. Now you could, you know, take the nut off and plane this out of there too. Just checking the other side. Okay. So, you know, there's a few different ways you can go about this, but At the end of the day, what we need is the nut to move this way. The treble side will stay where it is, and we'll just kind of hee-haw that way and make it straight, and we'll be in good shape. Okay, so we're going to take the nut out of the, excuse me, I'm just using a file, okay? You can do this a bunch of different ways. Just got a small little hammer here, and I'm just setting the file up against the nut, and really tough to do on camera and hold it, but we're just going to pound that out sideways. I think we got it now. Okay, so we're going to take that right out. Now, what we want to do is try to get this piece out if we can and reuse it as a shim. So, I'm going to have to think about how I'm going to do it. There's really not a great way to go about it. I may end up doing something like this on an angle and just take what I can. Really, there's not a really great way to do it. I mean, it'd be nice if you could cut that right off flat, but let me think about it for a second. Okay, so I think I'm just going to take a knife here and just kind of score that a little bit. There we go. I think we got it, guys. Okay, yeah. So the piece came out. That's great. Well, we got a couple pieces here. Just going to set those up on the guitar so they don't get lost. Not too bad. It's a little high right there, so I'm going to have to actually do a little more cutting right here. But there is a way to do that too. I could actually just take the saw and just kind of lightly go over the top of this. A little at an angle, just kind of using it as a file, really. Or you could actually use a file like this. You could use the edge of it. That'll take care of it as well. I'm just going to try to get it down a little faster using this. Just very lightly. That's getting pretty close. Okay, so like I said, at the end of the day, we are going to have to fill this in. So if we set the nut back in there, we're going to have something that looks like that. And I'm going to see if I can put this wedge in there. That looks like the flat side, maybe. Not really sure. So that's what we're after. And that is actually the first one I've done this year. I've had to do this on some other necks, but it doesn't happen all the time, but once in a while it does. So it is something to look at. And, you know, check to make sure your nut slot is cut straight in the headstock. If you're having trouble with intonation, you know, it's more than likely that, or it could be, you know, sometimes these don't get placed in the right area either, and that can throw the scale off. You know, inexpensive guitars can be prone to this kind of stuff. You know, it's not the end of the world, but it's, you know, not a lot of fun either, I must say. But at the end of the day, now I know I'll be able to intonate this thing. So the next move will be to stop kicking the camera stand. Sorry about that. And I'm going to get some glue out. And I'm going to just probably leave the nut right in there. Put this piece in and just tack that in there with a little bit of super glue, okay? And I still have the other piece that will go just ahead of it. There is a gap there too, so I'll take you out of the camera stand here and let you guys take a peek at it. Okay, so that's basically all we got is a wedge in there. And like I said, I have the other piece right here. and it should work out right. At least the thing's straight again, and it is a little bit this way towards the neck, but when I get that in there, I'll clean it up a little bit better, and I can always adjust it that way if need be. I don't think it's going to be a big deal, really. It looks crooked in there kind of right now, but it's actually not as bad as you think. And in any case, it's going to give me enough scale length now to intonate the guitar. All right, let's try to get a couple just easy drops of glue in here. This is really thin super glue. That's a little more than I wanted, but it's okay. And like I said, when I'm done with this, you'll never even know it happened. So the main thing is just to get that, started and tacked in there. Okay, so the next piece is right here in my hand, and we're going to see if we can get this one tacked in as well. It's going to be kind of tricky to fit this in here, but we'll do the best we can. Just going to take the toothpick and just lightly push that in there. Okay, same thing again. Try not to glue the knot in there if I can help it. So I'm just going to kind of sneak some of that glue up and around there to hold it, and once we get them tacked in there, we can pull the knot right out and should be good to go. Okay, yeah, it started to glue it. Good thing I took it out then. Okay, the little piece is stuck to the knot, which is okay. We're just going to leave that just like it is for now. And well, actually, I just got it broke loose again, so it's breaking on me. Okay, so I'm just going to go to extreme measures here and try to get this in there right now. You know what? I'm not even going to bother. I'm just going to leave it, and I'll fill that with glue. And what we're going to have to do is make some sort of a dam here for the glue, and we'll do that with a piece of tape. Okay, well, change of plans. I'm just going to use some super glue gel here, crazy glue, okay? I'm just going to kind of do this by eye, and I can basically draw that in there straight like that. And it's just enough, and it has just enough heaviness to it, so it will kind of hold itself there, unlike thin super glue. Okay, we'll let that sit right there for a while, and that will pretty much take care of it. And then we're going to have to address this, file it off, clean it up. It may take another lift of super glue to actually straighten the whole thing out, but this is what you got to do, guys. Like I said, at the end of the day, you're never going to know that I was even there. So, it's just one of them things. It's no fun. It's not optimum, but it will work. Okay. So, I'll take you guys out of the stand and show you. Okay, we've straightened it out quite a bit. And we are going to have to do some other drops. You can see some witness lines where that wedge is glued in, but I can straighten it out. Like I said, we'll straighten the top part out with a file, then we'll actually go right inside the slot with a file, holding it towards the glue side, and we'll take right care of that. Yeah, it's a little time consuming, but this guitar is useless to me if I can't intonate it, so I have to make time and take time to get it right, which, like I said, it's crazy glue. it doesn't take long to dry, so this can, this can go right along pretty smooth and not take a week. So I'll be able to have this up and going in, a matter of a few hours, basically. That is a pretty thick layer of glue, but that's okay. I want it to kind of droop down into the nut slot, and it's pretty much right where it needs to be. Like I said, I may have to do. Sorry about that, folks. There. Boy, that scared me too. Well, the phone just come out of the camera stand, and hope everybody's okay. Anyway, folks, we got to let this dry up here and repair the camera stand real quick, and we'll be on our way. So I just wanted to share this anyway, like how to correct it, how to fix it, and hopefully this info helps you guys. And thanks again to the viewer that pointed this out. And as soon as I watched the video that I shot yesterday, this morning with my coffee, I was like, wow, that is way off. And totally explains why I had to run the saddles all the way back as far as I could possibly get them. So now we'll be able to actually probably let these back towards the headstock some. Hopefully, I mean, I can't go any more towards the headstock with the nut slot, so we'll be in good shape. Just something to keep an eye on, though, folks. If you pick up a guitar, an inexpensive one, or even something that's, of value that you just can't intonate, that is a possibility right there. It's either that or they've mounted the bridge too close to the headstock. It's got to be one or the other. You can always pull a tape measure out and measure it as well. If you know what the scale length's supposed to be on the guitar, when it was made, then that's an easy way to tell too. Just measure it. But if you don't think it's off, or you have no reason to believe it should be off, and you can't get it intonated, you got to check on that end of it too, I guess. It's not extremely common, but it does happen. So I just wanted to share this with you guys, and hopefully this helps. I will do a video on this after I get it all set up again and intonated. So thanks again, folks. Welcome to the new subscribers. I really appreciate all the views and nice comments. It really helps out the channel, folks. And again, as this stuff presents itself, I'll try to capture it and share all the perils of working on guitars with you folks. So maybe it'll help you guys out, and you might be able to tackle some of this on your own. Okay, thanks again, folks. We'll see you real soon. Be good. Okie doke. Okay, folks. Well, the super glue's dried, and all the smoke is settled, and the dust and all that. And I've just been sanding this a little bit with some kind of coarse sandpaper, just trying to, get rid of some of the glue and get that out of the way, so I can kind of blend everything back in together before it's all said and done. So again, I'm just basically taking this, and I know that's probably going to be hard to see, and I am just hitting on the very edge of that, where that wedge is we put in there, okay? Now I've got one little dip right there to correct, but let's set the nut back in it and see what it looks like. Okay. What's wrong with that? So again, I'll just keep sanding lightly and kind of get that super glue kind of work back down a little bit so it's not so obvious. And then once we oil the fretboard and everything, I don't think you're ever going to see it. And we'll put a little touch of super glue just on the face of the nut here, and just drop it back in there, and we'll be good to go. So all in all, it wasn't that big of a deal to perform. I've definitely done harder things on guitars, so I'm happy with it. It is a little bit this way, as you can see. Purposely, though, I wanted to make sure that I had enough scale length so I can let these saddles back off down here. And that should work out about right. I could have went just, right dead straight. I had the option for sure, but I decided to just put it the bass side that way a little bit, not a lot, just a little bit, just to make sure that we've corrected the scale length issue here, and I think we're going to be good to go now. So again, I'm just going to clean this up a little more. That little divot there, I don't know. I'm not really worried about it. I may just put one little touch of super glue on it, just because, and then I'll finish it back off. And again, once this is all sanded and finished, this will definitely be really hard to detect it. Everything just kind of blends back together, as you can see. No issues with that at all. You can see where it needs to be sanded a little bit more up here, but back here where I just hit that, it's almost blended back together without any trace. So that's how you got to go about that stuff, folks. If you have a guitar that's messed up as far as the scale length, I hope this will help you out. And it definitely is going to correct this issue. I know that. Like I said, it's only off probably 3 or 4 cents on the E string and the A string, but it's enough so I can't gain any more adjustment here on the E and A saddles. They're sucked right up tight, and the other ones are all good. They are intonated, so what we want to be able to do is let these first 3, the E, A, and D, back a little bit, and that's definitely going to do it here with straightening that out. So all in all, it's not a hard job, and it come out pretty good. It's like I said, when I get done with this, it'll be really hard to detect that I was even there, or I used super glue or anything, honestly. And it really doesn't matter at the end of the day, as long as I can play the guitar and play it in tune. That's a win for G. Well, hello folks, how's it going? Hope you guys are all doing really good. You're probably getting sick of seeing this guitar, and I'm getting sick of working on it, but in any case, I got the nut slot straightened out. If you guys saw the last video, the intonation was way off and the nut slot was cut crooked, so we had to manipulate it in a different direction, and that's all going to work fine now. But I put a fret rocker on here just to check some of the frets, and most of them lifted up on the outer edges. I tried pounding them down with a fret hammer and they won't stay. So now we're going to press them down. I've got one of these dies in here. You can change this brass piece out. I'll show you. There's all kinds of different numbered dies. So for instance, let's see what this one is. That's a 7.25. So you can see the radius in it. So all you do is take the little Allen wrench there, and you loosen up that Allen screw right in the middle, and you can take that die out and put the correct one in. So you just set them on your fretboard, and check them. See if there's daylight under there. It's not probably the right one. But sometimes using one that's, has more radius on it can help you just pin down the edges too, okay? So I'm gonna leave the one that's in there right in the thing. It's the right one for this application. So what we're gonna do is press them down, and I'm gonna hit them with some thin super glue here. Now I made my own little apparatus out of some shrink tube. I heated the end up and just kind of pinched it down, so that way I can just kind of guide it along. And you don't need much of this stuff, but I'm gonna have to go across all the frets and clean them up. So let's get set up and go to work. Okay, so we're just gonna get a little super glue in on the edges here. Sometimes it's more than you want, but it is what it is. Okay, so we're going to get the die centered right over the fret. Sometimes you have to just kind of hold it to get it lined up, okay? And once you get it on the fret, give her a good push, and we're going to wipe that excess out of there right now, best I can. And just hold some down pressure on it till it dries. I usually wait, 10 or 15 seconds at least, and make sure you keep good pressure on it. I mean, you don't need to hang off the arm of the drill press with all your weight or anything, but I put a pretty good strain on them just to make sure. Okay, let's take a peek at that. It's all dry, and the fret ends are down. Perfect. Okay, so what we're going to do is going to move right on to the next one. Again, I'm just going to try to put a thin little line of super glue across to you. And a little out on that edge. I'm going to give it a quick wipe right now and get our die centered over it. It can be tedious and tricky getting this lined up, that's for sure, but okay, good steady pressure. Now what we'll do after this is I'll take a razor blade and I'll scrape that super glue back to the fret wire, just so you don't see it, There's a lot of cleanup involved, but sometimes this is what you gotta do, folks. No two ways around it. Either that or pull the frets out and refret it. At this point, I'd rather do this, although it is kind of tedious. Okay, the glue's dry. The fret's down really well. That's what we're after. So we're gonna do another one here. I'm gonna get my my thing lined up first this trip, so that way all I got to do is just drop it down when the time comes. Okay, a little more super glue here. It's really getting hard to see it, but okay, we're lined up. Some good pressure on there. So like I said, if you can't pound them down, then this is what it is. You gotta glue them in and press them in. They do make vice grip type clamps too. I thought about making a set. I may sometime. That's easy too. It's the same principle that you put a die in it and then you just squeeze it with a set of vice grips, clamp it and lock it, and there you go. But you got to have some sort of padding under the neck, and if not, you're going to have trouble. All right, I mean, them feel good. I can't get my fingernail under it or anything like that. That's just one way to check them. They are pretty sharp. We're going to have to clean them up and and file them. But at least I'm getting them sunk down into the fretboard where they belong, okay? So this is another little aspect of it. You know, if you're going to work on them, sometimes, you know, if you don't have a drill press, you know, it depends on how often you have to do this kind of thing. If you're handling a lot of guitars, then you probably should invest in stuff like this so you can repair them. You know, if not, you got to weigh it up. If you're only going to do 1 or 2 guitars, is it worth buying a drill press and, you know, and the die? So at the end of the day, it's not that expensive, and you can use an Aber press, or you can buy the vice grip type, or make your own, or whatever. You know, it's not out of reach. I'm pretty sure you guys probably can come up with something on your own. Okay, so that's 4 of them. I got a long ways to go, so I'm going to keep going here. Okay, we're at the, made it to the 12th fret, and we're going to keep pressing on here. Again, I'm just trying to do this as quick as I can and get stuff lined up really fast so you can get it before the glue hits. Okay, one other thing I did want to add is, like, as you go along, you want to take your cloth and wipe the die out so it doesn't get, you know, caked full of super glue. And another thing, if it does start to stick to the fret wire when you pull it up, it may just pull the fret wire with it. So keep that cleaned off, okay? Okay, so we had to spin the guitar around to get the rest of them, and that's just how it kind of goes. It depends on the size of your drill press too, I guess, but in any case, we had to spin it around so we could get these ones too. Now, I'm just trying to keep that glue wiped off the die as best I can, really, is all I'm doing here, but put some good pressure down. I just checked out the ones that I just glued in, and they're right down nice and tight to the fretboard like you want them. So, you know, I usually try to lift it with my fingernail. If I can get my fingernail kind of started under the edge, you know they're high. So, all right, that should hold that one. Again, I just want to wipe the underside of that die off as best I can. All right, so let's get the next one in line. It does help to get things lined up first, so you know you don't have to move very far when it comes time. You gotta, you know, it's a kind of a race against the clock with the super glue. It's just the way it is. There's not an awful lot you can do about it. Okay. You know, certain glues will give you more work time, too. This was just something I bought at Walgreens. It's just liquid super glue. It's really thin viscosity, though. It's like, you know, it's just like CA glue. And it was really inexpensive. I think it was like $5 maybe. Pretty cheap. And it works good. I need to order some more of those pipettes that go on the end of your glue bottle, but for now we're using a piece of shrink tube, which is working just fine. Okay, so I'm going to get another one lined up here. Hit it with some glue. There we go. You know, you can, if you don't know that the frets are lifted and you're trying to level them and sand them, that can be a bad thing, because sometimes when the frets lift, if you file them and try checking it with a fret rocker, they just pop right back up. And pretty soon you filed the playability out of the fret wire. So, you know, you got to make sure the ends are not lifted. That's big. And once the ends are glued down, everything is secure again, then you want to check it with your fret rocker and see if anything needs to be addressed. You want to take as little out of the fret wire as you can, always. That's the rules. Okay, so we're just going to get one more lined up here. That looks pretty close. A little more glue. Yeah, put just a little bit more. You don't want to go all the way out to the edges because you don't want it drooling down the sides of the fretboard. It's just more stuff you're going to end up cleaning up. So when you push the fret wire down, it'll kind of run right out to the edges anyway. You know, you get the hang of it after a while and kind of figure out how much to put on there. And the less cleanup, the better. You know, you don't want it running down on your guitar or anything either. You could tape these off, which isn't a bad idea either. Okay, well, that feels pretty good. My die is getting a little glue on it, but okay, that's all dry. Let's line up for the next one here. We're going to be something about like this. Now I've had to kind of manipulate the guitar along the way here too, just so it clears the main center beam on the drill press. So it's a little tricky, but it can be done. This isn't a massive drill press I have, it's just a little small drill press, so that's all you need, you know. If you're going to do this kind of work, you really need a drill press in general anyway, so it works good for this too. Well, I think after I get these glued in, it's pretty much the last thing I'll have to do to this burrs wood. And should be good to go for a long time. It's had quite an extensive amount of work done here, so alright, I think this is, I'd like to manipulate the guitar one more time. That's what I'm going to do. Yeah, okay. Like I said, I have to keep turning the guitar around the center post of the drill press just because of the lower and upper cutaways, you know, the bouts that stick out, so, or the horns or whatever you call them. Okay, good amount of pressure. Wipe out what I can right now so I don't have to spend too long cleaning, but you're going to do some cleaning, that's just what it is. And again, I'll just take a razor blade and scrape that back to the fret wire, and you know, you won't even know that was glued, so it's just part of the process. Okay, that should be good for that one. These ones don't feel bad, but where there's only a few more, we're going to glue them in anyway. I've been gluing the fret wire in on the last few fret jobs I've done. Most of them, actually. There were a few. I guess I did glue them all in. I almost think that I didn't, though, on one guitar. Maybe on one of my own or something. You know, you don't have to, but if you glue them in, the odds of them lifting and sprouting are a lot less. A lot of guys don't want to deal with it because it's just so time consuming and a lot of cleanup involved. If you glue them in when you're installing them though, and you use fish glue, Titebond or something like that, it's really not that big of a cleanup process. And like I said, if they're glued in, they're less likely to pull up and lift and sprout. So I think from here out, I would recommend gluing my frets in if you're doing any type of fret replacement. I think it's a good idea. Okay, folks, we're getting down to the last. We got one more. I'm kind of having to hold on to the neck of the guitar and use the drill press and my arm to kind of push this one down. The next one might be a little tricky too, but I think we can handle it. Nope. Again, you have to watch that. It feels good on the ends though. I think we're going to be okay. As you notice, I hadn't wiped that off for a few frets, so I'm going to just give it one more press just to let it know that I was there. Okay, should be good. Okay, the last one here. And then whatever I do from here, especially as far as, you know, fret leveling, anything like that, at least I know the frets are glued and I got some sort of a baseline to work from. Okay, a little bit of pressure, and I can see there was glue stuck on the die again, which is unfortunate, but I'm just gonna hold it a few more seconds. Okay, and I can't wipe off any excess because it's already dried. All right, well, let's put it on the bench and take a peek. Well, everything looks okay. Seems like everything's down in good shape, so it was worth the effort. So now what we'll do is basically I'll just take a razor blade and start scraping back towards the fret wire very lightly, and I'll get that super glue just kind of scrape back flush to the wood. And you know, it takes a little time. It's not that bad though, and when you're done, you really will never be able to tell there was any glue. So good to go on this one, I guess. I'm hoping this is the last of the repair nightmares on this guitar. I really just brought it in to check the intonation on it and try it out again. And it turns out I've had a whole day's worth of work involved in getting it back to playing capability. So thanks again for watching, folks. I really appreciate it, and I really hope this info helps. And you know, if you have any questions, leave it in the comments. If I can't figure it out, there's a lot of viewers on here that can. There's a good crowd of people on this channel. A lot of great info gets exchanged, and you know, that's really special. Thanks again, folks. We'll see you guys real soon. Be good. Okie doke.